Ametrine. The only significant source of ametrine on Earth is a single mine in the Bolivian jungle called the Anahi mine. A Spanish conquistador named Don Felipe de Urriola received the mine as a dowry when he married Anahi, a princess of the Ayoreo indigenous people, then brought the bicolor stones back to Spain as part of the transaction. The Spanish court encountered them briefly, and the mine's location was lost with indigenous uprisings against colonial occupation, and ametrine effectively disappeared from European knowledge for 300 years. The mine was not rediscovered until the 1960s, when a pilot made an emergency landing in the Bolivian jungle and stumbled onto the deposit. Ametrine is a single quartz crystal that is an amethyst and a citrine at the same time, purple and yellow, divided along a visible boundary inside the stone. What divides the stone is temperature. During crystal growth, different zones of the same crystal form at different temperatures. Where temperatures were lower, iron oxidized into the state that produces purple. Where temperatures were higher, iron remained in the state that produces yellow. The Anahi mine is still the dominant global source. Attempts to produce natural-looking ametrine synthetically have been commercially unsuccessful because it is incredibly difficult.
Watermelon Tourmaline. Watermelon tourmaline is ironically not a variety of tourmaline. It is a structural accident that can happen to any tourmaline crystal under the right conditions. The pink interior and green exterior that give it the name are the exact same crystal, grown in two different chemical environments sequentially, recorded in layers like the rings of a tree. Tourmaline grows outward from a central axis. The chemical composition of the fluid surrounding the crystal changes as growth progresses, incorporating different trace elements into successive layers. In watermelon tourmaline, the core formed when manganese was dominant in the surrounding solution, producing pink. As the crystal grew outward over thousands of years, the chemical environment shifted toward iron dominance, and the outer layers grew green. The color division is like a timeline. The center of the stone is older than the exterior by a measurable geological interval, and the two colors are a record of that chemical transition. A clean watermelon tourmaline slice, cut perpendicular to the crystal's growth axis, reveals the complete sequence and cross-section. Pink core, white transitional zone, and green exterior. The white band is the chemical moment of change, preserved in mineral form. No two watermelon tourmalines have the same proportions of pink to white to green because no two crystals grew through identical chemical transitions. Each one is a unique record of a specific geological event that lasted thousands of years and produced something that looks like it was designed.
Parti Sapphire. For most of the 20th century, Parti Sapphires were rejected at the sorting table. A sapphire showing two distinct color zones, typically blue and yellow or blue and green, visible simultaneously in the same stone, was classified as a defective specimen and priced accordingly. The color zoning was read as evidence of inconsistent formation, a stone that could not decide what it was. Australian miners who found them in the Queensland fields in the 1970s and 1980s sold them at significant discounts to single color material from the same deposits. The market had a clear preference, and Parti Sapphires did not meet it. The color zoning in Parti Sapphires happens because corundum crystals grow in pulses rather than continuously. Each growth pulse incorporates whatever trace elements are present in the surrounding environment at that specific moment. A shift in iron concentration between pulses produces yellow. A shift toward titanium and iron together produces blue. A crystal that grew through two distinct geological episodes records both. So no, it is not defective. Nowadays, gemologists consider it pretty rare. The market correction happened gradually through the 2000s and accelerated sharply in the 2010s when the colored stone trade began seeing Parti Sapphires as unique individuals. Prices for fine Australian Parti Sapphires with strong, even color distribution in both zones have increased by several 100% in the last 15 years. The defect became the selling point. In short, maybe being rejected just means you are valuable and do not know it yet. Pietersite. Pietersite was discovered in 1962 by a Namibian farmer named Sid Peters, who found unusual swirling blue and gold stones on his own land and submitted them for mineralogical analysis. The results confirmed a mineral combination that had not been documented before. Pietersite is not a single mineral and not a simple composite. It is a compressed and fractured remnant of tiger's eye and hawk's eye, two varieties of quartz with fibrous internal structure that were subjected to such extreme tectonic stress that they shattered, folded into into each other and re-cemented under pressure into a single chaotic mass. The swirling patterns visible inside Pietersite are the literal record of that geological violence. Each band and curve is a fragment of a crystal that broke and was forced into a new orientation before the whole structure solidified again. The optical effect produced by that internal chaos is called chatoyancy, the same phenomenon responsible for the shimmer in cat's eye stones. Light reflecting off the fibrous internal structure produces a moving, shifting luminosity that changes with viewing angle. In Pietersite, because the fibers are fractured and oriented in multiple directions simultaneously, the chatoyancy does not move in a single line. It swirls. The interior of the stone appears to be in motion even when the stone is still. Significant deposits exist only in Namibia and in Henan province in China. Bi-color topaz. Most of the bi-color topaz sold in the jewelry market today did not come out of the ground that way. Natural bi-color topaz exists, formed when trace element concentrations shift during crystal growth in a process similar to the process in Parti Sapphires. It is rare and consistently distributed and commands significant premiums. The commercially available bi-color topaz filling showcase displays in jewelry stores worldwide is colorless topaz that has been partially irradiated in a nuclear reactor, then partially heat-treated to stabilize only certain zones of the resulting color. The irradiation itself is not cosmetically detectable and not chemically distinguishable from natural color without advanced testing. The resulting stones are legally required in most markets to be disclosed as treated, but the disclosure is frequently reduced to fine print or omitted entirely at the retail level. Colorless topaz is one of the most abundant gemstones on Earth, found in massive crystals in Brazil, Russia, and Pakistan. The treatment infrastructure that converts it into blue, pink, and bicolor material is an industrial operation conducted in licensed nuclear facilities. The colored topaz market is largely a processing industry built on an abundant raw material and the reactor. Natural bicolor topaz, when it does form, shows color zoning that follows the crystal's internal growth structure rather than an external geometric boundary. A gemologist can distinguish the two under magnification. Most consumers never ask.